Donald Trump is having a disastrous landing back from his China trip, which was an utter failure. Even MAGA accounts are calling Donald Trump's trip to China a total dud. And Donald Trump just learned that Vladimir Putin will be heading to China right now, right after Donald Trump leaves. Putin's heading to China to actually plan and plot with Xi Jinping after whatever the hell that was that Donald Trump just did. Here's what some of the MAGA accounts are posting. Then let me show you what's going on in that disastrous landing right now by Donald Trump aboard Air Force One. The MAGA account Banshee is posting the following. I know the influencer accounts are busy posting fire emojis, but this China trip looks like a dud. We got a non-binding Boeing order, less than half its original size. It was supposed to be 500 planes. Trump said maybe 200 planes, and some vagaries about soybeans. Maybe half as much soybeans being purchased than under former President Biden. China, on the other hand, got profuse praise, concessions on trade, support for buying our farmland in the United States, 500,000 student visas, AI chips, and the softening of demands around Iran and a recognition of China. I'm adding this part regarding Taiwan. I'll show you that in a moment. Sorry, I can't lie to you and tell you this was a good result. Scream at me if you must. So aboard Air Force One, Donald Trump was losing his mind. Quite literally. I mean, he's lost it a long time ago, but Donald Trump confused Taiwan and Iran. He thought they were the same thing. So when a reporter said, so Xi said there was a lot of risk of conflict between the U.S. over Taiwan. If the U.S. supports Taiwan, there would be risk of U.S. conflict with China. What's your response? And Trump thinks the reporter's talking about Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. Here, play this clip.
Before we leave Taiwan, Mr. President, President Xi said that there was a risk of conflict with the U.S. over Taiwan. What's your response to that?
I don't think there's a conflict, other than we don't need their strait. We don't need the Hormuz.
On Taiwan, Mr. President Xi said there was a risk of conflict with the U.S. over Taiwan.
No, I don't think so. I think we'll be fine. He doesn't want to see a war. And you have two things. You have the Iranian situation, and that I think we agree almost entirely, other than he's a buyer and we're not. We don't need it. And on Taiwan, he doesn't want to see a movement for independence. He says, look, we've had it for thousands of years, and then at a certain period of time it left, then we were going to get it back. They had the Korean War. A lot of things happened. That's all history. But on Taiwan, he feels very strongly. I made no commitment either way. We'll see what happens.
So then the reporter asks another question. So would the U.S. defend Taiwan? If it came to it, would the U.S. defend Taiwan? Trump goes, yeah, I don't want to say. Here, play this clip.
Would the U.S. defend Taiwan if it came to it?
I don't want to say. I'm not going to say that. There's only one person that knows that. You know who it is? Me. I'm the only person. That question was asked to me today by President Xi. I said, I don't talk about that.
He asked you today.
He asked you if you would send troops. He asked me if I defend them. I said, I don't talk about that.
You told him that.
I don't talk.
Did you talk to him about the cyber attack?
All right. Well, then the reporter says, when it comes to Taiwan, there's 1982 assurances that Reagan gave that said the U.S. would never consult with China on arms sales to Taiwan. But it sounds like you've been consulting with China about arms sales to Taiwan, and that you may not do arms sales to Taiwan right now based on your consultation with China, which goes against all of American foreign policy principle. So are you getting rid of the principle that we don't consult with China and ask for their permission? And Donald Trump said, well, 1982 was a long time ago. Of course I'm going to consult with China. Let's play this clip.
Mr. President, on Taiwan again, you said you were going to check with the president of Taiwan, but the 1982 assurances that President Reagan gave said the United States would not consult with China on arms sales to Taiwan. It sounds to me like you have consulted.
Well, I think 1980s is a long way.
It was.
Has a big far distance
You
away.
dispensed with that?
No, I didn't say anything about it. But certainly, he brought that up. He talked about that to me, obviously. So what am I going to do? Say I don't want to talk to you about it? Because I have an agreement that was signed in 1982. No, we discussed arms sales too.
And what's his request?
We discussed to Taiwan, the whole thing with the arms sales was in great detail, actually. And I'll be making decisions.
What was his request?
But, I think the last thing we need right now is a war that's 9,500 miles away. I think that's the last thing we need. We're doing very well.
With the U.S.
All right, so the reporter says, did you consult with Xi Jinping about Chinese cyber attacks inside America? And Donald Trump's like, they attack us all the time. So what? Of course I did. Why can't, I kid you not, I'm going to show you the clip. Donald Trump's like, why can't they do cyber attacks on us? We do cyber attacks on them. It's fine. That's just what we do. What's what they do? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? How about you defend American sovereignty, damn it, you loser? I know all you care about is yourself, but do you realize how much the American people are suffering right now? Do you know how much the people throughout the world are suffering because of your selfishness, because you are not capable of performing the functions of anywhere near the job you have? Here, play this clip.
Did you talk to him about the cyber attacks that he's done in the United States or the MSS has done?
I did, and he talked about attacks that we did in China. What they do, we do too. It's like the spying. They're talking about, the spying. I said, well,
The spying
we do it
or
too.
the infrastructure?
Look, no, I'm talking about spying.
The
The question was asked to me yesterday, I guess, what about the fact that China's spying in the United States? I said, well, it's one of those things because we spy like hell on them too. So
What about the fact that China is putting in the U.S. infrastructure code that they could use if you ever decided to come to the
Well, you don't know that. I mean, I'd like to see it, but it's very possible that they do. And we're doing things to them. I told them we do a lot of stuff to you that you don't know about, and you're doing things to us that we probably do know about. But we do plenty. It's a double-edged sword.
So then a reporter's like, okay, you like tariffs. You're a tariff guy, right? You Mr. Tariff. So surely you talked to Xi about tariffs, right? A truce on tariffs. Did the subject of tariffs come up? We didn't discuss it. You didn't discuss. Your whole thing is arbitrary tariffs against the world, using tariffs as leverage. You didn't speak once about tariffs? Here, play this clip.
Tariffs, Mr. President. Did you agree with President Xi to extend that year-long truce on tariffs?
We didn't discuss tariffs. I mean, they're paying tariffs. They're paying substantial tariffs, but we didn't discuss. Before I came along, it was the opposite. We didn't discuss tariffs.
How come?
It wasn't brought up.
Mr. President, you said it.
And then Donald Trump's like, when it comes to this is like a throwaway line from Donald Trump. We destroyed 75% of their capabilities, and we're going to finish it up, and we're going to go back to war. What? Here, play this clip.
But we're sort of finished militarily, pretty much. But David, we finished probably 70-75%. We didn't finish every one of the things. We'll go back and finish them off. And by the way, and more than that.
Okay. Then a reporter says, okay, so can you just be clear with us? Are we going to do the arms sales to Taiwan that were promised? Are we going forward with arms sales? And Trump's like, I'll be making a determination soon. We've committed to doing the arms sales. So now after meeting with Xi, we're not going to do, by the way, if you've been watching the MeidasTouch network, you know for a better part of the last 16 months, I've been saying, we've thrown Taiwan under the bus. Ain't no way we are giving them the arms that were promised. Maybe a little bit just to create an appearance, but I said, these are arms sales that by law we have to do. So now you spoke with Xi. He brought you around trees outside, and now this is how you're behaving. Here, play this clip.
So what about the arms sales to Taiwan?
I'll make a determination over the next fairly short period.
You're not necessarily going to go ahead. It was your
I'm
proposal.
going to make a determination. I'm going to see. I have to speak to the person that right now is, you know who he is, that's running Taiwan.
Oh, and then if you're like, Ben, can it get any worse? Yeah, it can. He then brags about his relationship with Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un now has nuclear weapons, now conducting weekly cruise missile tests, ballistic missile tests, testing various forms of weapons, and has nuclear weapons because of Donald Trump's weakness. And you're saying you're bragging about your friendship with Kim Jong-un? Here, play this clip.
Sir, did you discuss North Korea with Xi?
I did.
What came out of that?
You know, I have a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. He's been pretty quiet.
Have you had any communications with him?
Yes.
Of what kind?
Doesn't matter. I mean, I don't tell you about that. But I have a good relationship with him. He's been respectful of our country. I want him to be respectful. He's been respectful of our country. Hey, thank you very much. Enjoy the flight, everybody. Thank you.
And then he starts yelling at a New York Times reporter, David Sanger. And then Trump's like, I had a total victory of Iran. You fake news. You're a fake guy. You're a fake guy? What does that mean? He's a fake guy. You're a fake person, Dave. You're a fake guy. You in New York Times. What does that even mean? Here, play this clip.
Repeating the bombing. You did it for 38 days.
Well, no, we did.
And you did not get the political changes in Iran.
No, I had a total military victory. But the fake news, guys like you write incorrectly. You're a fake guy. And guys like you write about it incorrectly. We had a total military victory. We knocked out their entire Navy. We knocked out their entire Air Force. We knocked out all of their anti-aircraft weaponry. We knocked out all of their radar. We knocked out all of their leaders, number one, and then we knocked out all of their leaders in the 2nd Division, and we knocked out numerous of their leaders in the 3rd Division. And they're very confused. We've had a total victory, except by people like you that don't write the truth. You know, you should write. I actually think it's sort of treasonous what you write, but you and the New York Times and CNN, I would say, are the worst.
So on another war.
You should know better. You know better. Your editors tell you what to write, and you write it. You should be ashamed of it.
Subject of another war. Is there any
I actually think it's treason. When you write like they're doing well militarily and they have no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-anything. By the way, we knocked out 85% of their manufacturing for missiles. We knocked out everything. We haven't knocked out other than one bridge, and we did because they misbehaved. But we have bridges we could knock out. We could knock out their bridges and their electrical capacity within 2 days. We could knock out the whole thing. And then I read the New York Times, and they act like they're doing well. And everybody knows it. That's why your subscribers are way down. You know, the Times subscribers are way down because it's fake news.
Did you discuss Ukraine?
Way down.
Did you discuss Ukraine?
More questioning about the reporting that Iran's missile capabilities have been rebuilt, to which Donald Trump says that's more New York Times fake news. Here, play this clip.
You saw the reporting on the missile capability, missile launchers that have remained.
Yes. No, it's New York Times fake news. The missile launches are probably 80% gone. The New York Times said it's like we were hitting them like pinatas. The missile launches are largely gone. The manufacturing of missiles is about 80%, 80 to 85% gone. And we know where the rest of it. So if we go in, we'll take that out very early.
The intelligence reports seem to indicate, though,
There are no intelligence reports. Not for the. They weren't intelligence reports. They were New York Times fake news.
Then a reporter says, former President Biden referred to Xi Jinping as a dictator. He looked him in the eyes and told him he's a dictator. And that was American foreign policy, with former President Biden standing up to Xi and saying he's a dictator. What's your response? That, Biden's a bad president. Biden was incompetent. So you've got Xi Jinping's back over a United States president for a lot of reasons, but because the president called Xi a dictator, the former president did, and you're taking Xi Jinping's side. Like, do we all realize how treasonous and traitorous this is? And this is brought to you by these MAGAs who pretended to be China hawks. You are watching treasonous and traitorous behavior right here. Right here. And by the way, You don't have to like Biden. I happen to think former President Biden was a good president. You don't have to agree with me on that. But I don't think it was a controversial thing that Biden said. And so Trump has Xi Jinping's back over the back of American foreign policy going back a very long time. Okay, here, play this clip.
And on President Xi, a couple of years ago when President Biden met him in San Francisco, he was asked if he thought President Xi was a dictator. Do you think President Xi is a dictator?
No, but I think that President Biden was an incompetent president. He gave us the Iran nuclear deal, which allowed Iran to have a nuclear weapon within a matter of years from the time they said, I terminated it. If I didn't terminate that, Iran would have a nuclear weapon, and they would have used it within probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. If I didn't go in with the B-2 bombers 9 months ago, Iran would have a nuclear weapon, and nobody would be able to talk to them. By the way, they would have used it already.
But do you think President Xi is a dictator or not?
I don't think about it.
Right.
He's the ruler. He's the president of China. I don't think about it.
You said they would have
You deal with what you have. I respect him. He's very smart. He loves his country. I respect him. Whether he's a dictator, that's for you to figure out.
Mr. President, you said you didn't talk.
Then Donald Trump is asked about the fact that the United States is engaged in war crimes and blowing up elementary schools and killing little girls, like in Manab in Iran, where about 168 little girls were slaughtered by the Trump regime. So what's the status of that, Donald? What's the status about the girls? Well, it's under investigation. Okay, well, can you now confirm? You can't just say something's under investigation forever and expect us to stop asking about it. That's Trump's plan, right? I'll tell you in 2 weeks. I'll tell you in 2 weeks. I'll tell you in 2 weeks. Remember, that's what he did with Melania's immigration status. People forget that. But during the campaign, people were like, how'd she get here? Her story doesn't make any sense. I'll hold the press conference in 2 weeks. This is his strategy. He'll just always say there's an investigation and then there'll never actually be an outcome. And he'll expect all of us to just get distracted with his myriad of weapons of mass distraction and let it go away. And then he attacks the reporter. Oh, what, your BBC? Your BBC? You put AI in my mouth, BBC? You put AI in my mouth, BBC? Here, listen to this idiot. Here, play this clip.
Admiral Cooper of CENTCOM was asked yesterday about the strike on the girls' school on the first day of the war.
Oh, it's under investigation. You're talking about the original.
It was the only case of investigation at the moment into civilian
I
casualties.
think we have a couple of things under investigation, but that is under investigation.
Are you able to confirm yet that it was a US missile?
Who are you with?
BBC for the radio.
Fake BBC. You mean the ones that put AI in my mouth? The ones that had me saying a statement that they now admit was not true? The ones that put terrible words in my mouth and then had to admit that it was fake? The ones that are being sued now for $5 billion and don't know what to do? You with BBC? They're another fake outfit, yeah.
About the deals in China?
And then Donald Trump says, he's asked, so on Truth Social, you said Xi Jinping referred to the U.S. as a declining nation? Xi Jinping never used those words exactly. Where are you getting that from, that you said that Xi Jinping said America is declining? I mean, Xi Jinping's right next to you, talked about the Thucydides trap, which implies a decline of America and a rise of China. Is that what you're referring to? And then Donald Trump's like, no, he told me I'm so hot. We said I'm the hottest and we're so hot. Play this clip.
President, on Truth Social, you said that President Xi had made a reference to the decline of the U.S. We didn't hear him say that. Maybe it was something he said in private to you. So what was it, first of all, that he said that prompted you to do this?
He made a statement. It might not have been from him. It was somebody, but they talked about the decline. But he said today, and he said it very publicly, he said the U.S. was declining for the last 4 years. And he said what President Trump has done in the last 15, 16 months has been virtually a miracle. He said we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. But he said that it was a declining country under Joe Biden. He said we had a seriously declining country, which we did, with people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons and everything else. He said what President Trump has done has been a virtual miracle. It's the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it is, yeah.
What about the latest proposal from Iran, Donald? Have you rejected Iran's latest proposal in order to reach a deal? I looked at it. I don't read after the first sentence. If I don't like the first sentence, I stop reading. Mature. It's mature because Americans are suffering. Gas prices are hitting record high. Markets are crashing. People can't afford homes. And if you don't like the first sentence, you don't read past the first sentence. Can we impeach this guy now? Can we throw this guy? I mean, serious. Who from any political party watches this and goes, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense? No, this guy's an idiot. This guy is a vile piece of trash human who surrounds himself with vile piece of trash humans. You have a position that's deeply serious. Read the damn document more than a few words. Instead of talking about golden ballrooms and golden statues and whatever the hell you're posting. Here, play this clip.
We have a lot of questions around the China trip, but just first on Iran, have you rejected the latest proposal from Iran, or where does that stand?
Well, I looked at it, and if I don't like the first sentence, I just throw it away.
What was the first sentence?
An unacceptable sentence. Because they're fully agreed, no nuclear, and if they have any nuclear of any form, I don't read the rest of
So
it.
20 years is not enough for you. It's got to be a permanent.
No, 20 years is enough, but the level of guarantee from them is not enough. In other words, it's got to be a real 20 years, not a big
It means
one.
you've got to get all the fuel out and no more
We
production.
have to get everything, but we're not even talking about, I call it the nuclear dust. Came up with a term which seems to have caught on.
I'm talking about because they would not remove the.
They said that they can't remove it because they don't have the technology to remove it.
Well, you
They
can
don't have
remove
the
it
type of tractors. They say the only one, they told me directly, they said the only one that can remove it is China or the U.S. We're the only ones with the equipment. They said you were right. It is a complete obliteration. With that being said, I want to get it. And they agreed to it, but then they took it back, but they'll agree to it eventually.
And then he doesn't know how to pronounce. It's just a side thing. When he's talking about the race in Texas and he's like referring to Tallarico, he's like, Tallarico is 6 genders. What does that mean? He's 6 genders. He's vegan. He said he's vegan. Do you know how to say the word vegan? What are you even referring to? What are you talking about? Vegan, 6 genders. What world do you live in, you idiot? What world do you live in, you idiot? Here, play this clip.
You might not endorse Surrey, Texas.
I don't want to say that. I mean, I'm looking at it versus vote. I like them both. I mean, I'll tell you what I do think. I think the Democrats have a weird candidate. 6 genders, a real hit on Jesus. I mean, this guy is bad news with his mask from relatively recently, and is a vegan. He's a vegan. All of a sudden, he's not a vegan. He was a vegan. Now all of a sudden, he's not. Texas doesn't like vegans. I do believe either one of them will easily win the race. I think that the candidate the Democrats have in Texas is a very flawed, very weak, I think he's a pathetic candidate, especially for Texas. Okay?
Oh, and then Donald Trump is posting China. Here's on social media. China has a ballroom, so ours will be opening around September 2028. So should the USA because China has a ballroom. And he's posting photos of golden statues. Oh, the new one? So after yesterday, they posted about new golf courses in DC. They took over the public golf course. They want to destroy that and now build golf courses. You know about the arches. You know about the golden ballrooms. You know about the Club Rose Garden. You know how he destroyed the Kennedy Center. The new one right here, they want to take over West Potomac Park and they want to turn it into, he goes, right now it's a totally barren field, which is not true. And he goes, let's turn this into he wants to turn it into a world-class masterpiece that they're going to call the National Garden of American Heroes and put up statues of people who Donald Trump believes are American heroes. That's where they're going with this. And finally, after all of this, how is Jim Jordan trying to defend all of this? The fact that our prices are up, that Americans are suffering. Watch what Jim Jordan says. Let's play it.
What about his promise in 2024 that if he was reelected, gas would be under $2 a gallon because of his policies? Well, gas prices were coming down until we had to deal with this situation. But, you know, that's life. That's dealing with world and the world we live in. I think the country gets the fundamental fact, and I know I understand this, President Trump makes decisions that are in the best interest of.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.